Um, that was LeBron James coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, uh, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son. Can't repeat the words because they ain't suited for FCC airwaves.
Don't
That's what he
say.
was doing. Um, I thought long and hard about this uh, over the last few hours because I had no intentions, Molly, of talking about this at all.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it was a one-on-one. I wouldn't say a conversation, but it was a one-on-one confrontation. But then I wake up and everybody from ESPN and my agent and everybody else were sending me that this thing had gone viral. And so ultimately it was unavoidable. And that is why I have to discuss it now. That wasn't a basketball player confronting me. That was a parent. That was a father. And I can't sit here and be angry or feel slighted by LeBron James in any way in that regard.
Man, Stephen A.
By all accounts, he's obviously a wonderful family man and a wonderful father who cares very, very deeply about his son. And based on some of the comments that he had heard, or shall I say, I think he thought he heard, um, he clearly took exception to some of the things that he heard me say, and he confronted me about it. For the record, his agent and friend, Rich Paul, has my number. Maverick Carter, who works under him, has my number. Um, LeBron James knows how to get in contact with me if he wanted to. He never called because had he called and wanted to talk to me, I would have accepted that call. Had he wanted to see me, I would have flown out and I would have seen him and I would have had a conversation man to man.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right there. Man, Stephen A is going through it. This reminded me of the Will Smith slap where you see someone upset, um, said something about their family, and the only thing, I mean, I when I say the slap, I mean like the impact on it, but they're two totally different situations though. And I think Stephen A. Smith wasn't deserved as much as well, actually I don't think Chris Rock was deserved either, but Will Smith just crashing out. And we have LeBron James almost crashing out on national TV. And this was during a halftime game. This wasn't like at the end of the game or the beginning of the game. This was at halftime. He went over and confronted Stephen A. I got a lot of questions. And one of my first question is like, Stephen, you ain't got no people to stop LeBron? Like talking to you like that in front of everybody? Like nobody was like, hey, Bron, I know how it is. I know you this is your place or something. This is your arena, but you ain't about to be talking to my mans over there. Like that ain't about to happen. But I mean, maybe we gotta get a different entourage. That's the question I don't see a lot of people asking. First of all, but go ahead, MC.
Um, I'm trying to be empathetic to LeBron. Uh, he's a parent. He used his fatherhood slash nepotism to get his son to the league.
Sure.
I tried to find the terrible, horrible things that Stephen A. said about Bronny, and I couldn't find anything outside him saying he doesn't really understand why he's in the league. And I
Yeah,
mean, if you
that
look
was
at
never
those
it.
numbers, it makes sense. I just pulled up his stats. He's averaging 1.4 points per game, half of a rebound, half of an assist, and shooting 25%.
Strong numbers.
Those are definitely G League numbers. Bronny's definitely there because of his pops. Um, that's one side of it. LeBron is being a good dad, right? The other side of it is Bronny is 20 years old. He's not a kid anymore.
Hmm.
It looks kind of weird to have your pops still fighting your battles for you at this point in life. Uh,
Exactly.
you kind of should probably transition to an advisory role at this point because he's not a kid anymore. But I'm not understanding why these NBA players are so hypersensitive. Stephen A gets paid to give opinions. Most of the time, he's hit or miss on how right or wrong he is, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's an opinion. He doesn't have to agree with it. This brings up an issue of masculinity, and I'm gonna get to a little bit later. But that's my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I think Stephen A. Even him just discussing this, and I know he just signed that massive contract, and it's hard to be sad on a day where you sign $100 million contract, but I don't know if Stephen A was really sad. We got another video that's going to show a different light on it. But Stephen A having to come out here, give out this somewhat apology and have cover for LeBron. I mean, LeBron, honestly, though, he could have lost a lot of things that night, though, because Stephen A was kind of in a win-win position. He could have did what it reminded me of when you remember when Shaq and Barkley got into it. Do you remember what he said when that fight before the fight ensued?
No, remind me.
He said he knew he couldn't take, and I'm paraphrasing. He knew he couldn't take Shaq, so he just needed to start the fight early, and somebody will break it up.
Yeah, that's pretty wise. But look, I think LeBron is wise enough to know he can't get physical with this, right? The most he
Yeah,
can do is say something to Stephen A.
I mean that's
And I'm
close enough. He got
not
it in his
really,
face.
not really, because it really makes LeBron look bad, man. Like if he gonna sit here and get heated every time somebody throw a shot at Bronny, you might as well square up and fight the rest of the league because I
Hey,
guarantee you most of the league feel like he's not there. And here's the other piece of this. Do you know who Kobe Covington is?
no.
He's a UFC fighter. He dropped his two
Oh yeah,
cents on this.
yeah. Okay,
He basically said LeBron picked his battles on this one. And if somebody like him would have made the same comments, LeBron wouldn't keep that same energy.
yeah, yeah. No, it's one of those things where if this had been he ain't this is the same problem I had with Will Smith going after Chris Rock and LeBron James going after Stephen A. Smith. And everybody knows uh Stephen A. Smith, he's not gonna be able to hold a candle to LeBron James. He ain't gonna be able to do anything. He might get one punch off, and it's one of those pity punches. And that's what I'm saying. Like if he does what Shaq did, just get that first one in. That's the only thing people will be talking about because you're not expected to win that one. But yeah, he's definitely in the wrong on this one. He checked Stephen A. Smith, he checked him, his man card, and then also Stephen A. comes out on national TV airwaves and starts talking about how Brown's out there as a parent. LeBron could have lost a lot though, because if Stephen A had did anything, he would have been in the right. Because most men, you square up on a man like that, you get in his face, they're coming after you. LeBron, he wouldn't have did this if a woman had been critical of his Bronny James. What are he going to send Savannah do that or something? He would have said anything. He sure as hell ain't said nothing about Skip. Skip been going in extra on him. And then Dave Portnoy, you know who Dave Portnoy is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Dave Portnoy has some choice words about LeBron James and Bronny James. Like he checked he won't, there's plenty of people he could have easily went after. Plenty of people have been like, you know what, Dave Portnoy, he was talking that shit. If he squared up on Skip Bayless, hey, it was like, yeah, we kind of get it. Stephen A. Smith is the wrong person he should not have squared up on because Stephen Smith he's kind of like pulling his punches, honestly, when he had, if you want to call it criticism. And then people were like, well, you got to remember Bronny James, he almost lost him and he had the heart thing. And I'm like, no, I get all that. But if somebody had some type of medical issue you can't talk about anymore, they're playing the professional league. Obviously, he moves past that issue. So who is off limits? Who is on limits and who is off limits though? Because you guys didn't show the NBA as a whole did not show any sympathy towards the Ball brothers. They got the smoke all the damn time.
Yeah. Here's my frustration with NBA players, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to say that Bronny is in the league because of LeBron.
Oh,
I
definitely.
mean, the
Yes.
Lakers literally gave up a first round pick because of him. I
Yeah. And
think it's safe to
they told everyone to not pick him up either. They told other people
right.
because I think Golden State could have picked him up.
So he used his leverage, right? Just like he
Yep.
uses leverage to trade for certain players and get certain pieces around him. How many times have we seen LeBron in his career wave off a play call from a coach and run what he wants to run?
Yeah.
Here's my problem with this. I have no problem with a player or an employee, in this case, exercising their power. My problem comes when it's time to take accountability for the decisions that you made.
Sure.
Because if we're being honest, the Bronny thing ain't working out. He's not looking NBA ready. And if the project is a success, then he'll be there to take all the credit. But if it's a failure, guess what? Do they stick around and take the blame? Or do they demand to get traded to another team?
Exactly.
This is some accountability dodging on LeBron's part. And I acknowledge that LeBron is one of the greats, but we're living in a new era where these players got this crazy amount of power and say so on operations, but they got to take the accountability that comes with it.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two, just on some man type stuff. If Stephen A didn't say anything that was wildly out of pocket or disrespectful, then LeBron was overreacting. Period.
Yeah,
You got to
100%.
learn how to disagree with people and keep your composure. LeBron is the face of the league still. I know a lot of people want to put other names in there, but he's still the face. So at some point, he's gonna have to. I think this was kind of an L for him. Let Bronny fight them battles.
L for him, L for the NBA too, because this wasn't a good look on the NBA. You got the face of the league checking a sports reporter. These sports reporters got Hall of Fame votes.
Yeah,
so these are
they
people
do.
you're supposed to work with, who watches your sport consistently. And this is other thing that people are not talking about. There are other members, other like Kevin Love, and I want to say Draymond Green, or I don't know if Drake. I don't know. I didn't see if Draymond did say something. I believe he did because of what Stephen A said. But I know Kevin Love said something, and you got all these players wanting to, try to kick Stephen A when he's down. I wish LeBron had checked one of these other damn players, because it just showed you how weak all these other players are. Kevin Love, that dude ain't been relevant since LeBron left. And so Kevin Love trying, and I'm not trying to put on my cape for Stephen A, but come on, man. Like, damn well LeBron was in the damn wrong, and you acting like Stephen A. Like, I don't care what Stephen A said, or he was trying to clean it up. He's supposed to clean it up. He ain't like you idiots where he's just gonna crash out because somebody said something bad about him. Like, that's not how he's gonna operate. I mean, could you imagine if King Griffey Jr.'s father, I forget, is it King Senior?
Senior, yeah.
Senior. So could you imagine if King Griffey Sr. had crashed out if the media had some smoke for King Griffey Jr.? Like, could you imagine how those conversations would go? You got one of the first father-son duo, and also black men who are competing, and I don't remember what the stats were for Senior, but we know Junior, his numbers were off the charts. So could you imagine if they were if they just started going in after him if he had like a bad season or a bad game or whatever the case is, and he started crashing out? No, man, this is where LeBron just lost. Like, this is going to be with LeBron forever, though, because even though LeBron, for the most part, his off the court hasn't really been. I don't care for LeBron's politics. I will respect his game, but as for his politics, he doesn't need to be in there. But this is going to stick with them. This is going to be another unintentional conversation that he didn't have to have. That's going to travel with him, or be with him, or be connected to his name for years to come, though, because everybody's going to bring that up. Like, yeah, you were kind of a bitch for going after Stephen A like that. So I got a clip here, but if you want to get one more thing in.
No, go ahead and run that clip.
Yeah, Stephen A, he has some. This is on the Gil Arena podcast, which is a good podcast. But Stephen A had a different response here.
Yeah,
he found that energy.
Talking about the Lakers, that's about LeBron, not Bronny. Bronny wanted to get drafted by any NBA team. Mm-hmm. He wanted to hear his name. It was LeBron that wanted him.
Hold on, let me run this back.
When we're talking about the Lakers, that's about LeBron, not Bronny. Bronny wanted to get drafted by any NBA team. Mm-hmm. He wanted to hear his name. It was LeBron that wanted him as his teammate. What I'm saying to you is, if LeBron had rolled up on me, all he had to say, because I said this to Rich Paul when Rich Paul called me, if you had called me and said, Ron pissed off, he wants to see you man to man, I said, what would I have done? Rich Paul said, you'd have hung up the phone and you'd have flew to LA. I said, thank you. Rather than come up to me at courtside, all you had to do was say, yo, I need you to see you after the game. You didn't do that. You said, you with my son. No, I wasn't. I was talking about you.
He got that energy. I told you.
I know he's number 55. I know he got work to do. Yeah. I believe that he got the potential. And by the way, I'm rooting for him. I ain't rooting against nobody. But I'm talking about yo. You did this. Number one, we know I'm right. Number two, we know the perspective that I'm coming from is real and it's authentic. Number three, he set this up. Number 4, all you had to do was tell me. Respectfully, excuse my language. That's
You ain't wrong, though.
I mean, it might be a day late and a dollar short, but I'll allow it though, because Stephen A. he did something that most men, and including Chris Rock, like most men would have reacted some type of way, some type of violence, some type of like, hey, you ain't about to be in my face like that. Something would have went down. They would have to get security to pry them apart. But Chris Rock and Stephen A. they got a better resolve than most men. I'm not saying that's a good thing, because I think Chris Rock should have kicked Will Smith down the stairs, pushed his ass down the stairs, and I think Stephen A. should have got in LeBron's face. But they took it a different route, and it seems to be working out for him. Stephen A. is making content off of it. Again, he signed a $100 million contract though, so it's not like it's Stephen A. took a huge L, but unfortunately, it was at his expense.
If you gonna bring up Chris Rock, then we gotta acknowledge that Chris Rock played that situation perfectly. He did exactly what he should have done, and now the Oscars and Will Smith is under his heel right now. So that's what I'm gonna say about that. But a better example of how to handle stuff like this, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name right, but we all know who the Greek Freak is. He has a younger brother named Thanasis. Mason Cam are constantly going at him. Why is he in the league? His brother got him there. You know what he did late last year? He walked into the studio while they was recording. He said, let's have a conversation about what you said. And they sat down and they aired out their grievances and they dealt with it right there on the podcast. That's how you're supposed to handle stuff like that. But LeBron, I don't know. I guess he's just built differently. I don't know, man.
I don't think it's that.
I'd have been on that type of time.
I think it's just because of Stephen A. Smith, just because they have some bad blood, or there's definitely some disagreement there. But again, Stephen A. Smith ain't even his biggest supporter, or his biggest hater, or I don't know if I can call Stephen A. Smith really a hater, because if anything, he's pretty generous with his takes on LeBron James, because they know they have to treat LeBron a certain way. ESPN, the NBA players, the whole league, they all have to Jordan never got anything like this. People hated Jordan, and that's how Jordan wanted it. People hated Kobe, and this is the man that's supposed to be ahead of those guys. Get out of here. These are just stat padding numbers into the final years of his career, and he's been holding the league as well as the Lakers hostage for these last couple of years with this whole Bronny thing. So I'll be glad, and the league will be probably in a better place when he retires, and they can kind of kick Bronny out the damn league finally.
Do you see LeBron as like an Aaron Rodgers type? Because Aaron Rodgers kind of does stuff like this too.
Yeah, I know Aaron Rodgers. He's definitely been a different Aaron Rodgers, or maybe he's always been that same Aaron Rodgers. But ever since 2020, Aaron Rodgers has been singing a different tune, though. But I still think this is way more egregious. I think this I'm trying to think of recent react. I mean, there was the one with Boogie Cousins when he checked a reporter, and that reporter went after his family. I'm like, I get it. Sometimes when they bring up family, I get it. I understand it. Boogie said Boogie apologized for that, and he still got suspended. And the Lakers, I mean, this is not a good look for the Lakers. The Lakers aren't going to do anything. I'm not expecting them to do anything, honestly. But the fact of the matter is, they didn't do anything either, or they didn't do anything. And they're probably going to have a conversation about it. Again, this is LeBron James, who has the league scare. And actually, the crazy thing, LeBron is rumored to be creating another league on his own after he gets out of the NBA. So how's this man the face of your league? And Jerry's who was the commissioner before Adam Silver?
That was David Stern.
Yeah, David Stern. David Stern's got to be rolling in his grave, because when you see this is how you left the league, and all you had to do is just don't fuck it up. Adam Silver, don't fuck it up. And what do? He fucked it up.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, and that's all I got on these guys. I mean, see, my hat's off to Stephen A, because at least he's trying to come back around again, day late, dollar short. But at least he's trying to clean it up, and so he doesn't look like he got his whole man card stolen. But it is what it is.
I'm with you on that 100%. Both of them be all right. Y'all both millionaires, multi-millionaires at that.
LeBron's a billionaire.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Billionaire and a millionaire. Yep, they'll be fine.
Yep. So all right, next topic.